Weathers for the Marlins, going for number 9, as he faces the improved New York Mets, led by Bobby Bonilla with 20 home runs and 23 doubles. July blossomed for Bret Saberhagen, pitcher of the month with 4 wins in 6 starts. Florida and New York next on the Marlins TV Network. Welcome to Shea Stadium in Flushing Meadows, New York. It is a rather cool, dark, and dank Friday evening here as the Marlins come to Gotham City for a 3-game set. The Marlins and the New York Mets here tonight. And hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Gary Carter. We've had some rain here this afternoon, but we hope to get this one started on time. And Gary Sheffield going very well after the fine 3 games that were won over in Chicago.
Definitely. He got his power numbers back up again. 24 home runs and 70 RBIs on the year. Yesterday reached base all 5 times, a home run, a double, also had a single, the 3 RBIs. And take a look at this home run. He is right on that pitch. I was asking him in the clubhouse. He said he was looking for it, a breaking ball, and even though it landed in the basket, folks, let me tell you, if the wind was not blowing in, that would have been way out.
He hit that into about a 35-mile-an-hour gale. The Mets playing much better, and one reason, of course, is Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, he has his power numbers up, too. 20 home runs, 62 RBIs, hitting .293 on the year, but his last 8 games, a .375 average, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. He does lead the Mets in the home run department. And doesn't he look cool, folks, in those nice glasses? Another look here at a home run that he blasts the opposite field for a home run at JRS.
So tonight it is the Marlins and the Mets here at Shea Stadium, and we'll be back with more right after these messages. Here at Shea Stadium, a group of youngsters just finishing up their rather unusual rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, and the few that are here in the crowd giving the kids a nice round of applause. Again, it's good to have you with us. Right now, Gary Carter down on the field. He'll talk things over with a fellow who did a great job yesterday afternoon in Chicago. Let's go to Gary with Mark Gardner.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Gardy, yesterday, an outstanding ball game. 7 2/3 innings. It seemed like you had your great control and also were flirting with a no-hitter for a while. That had to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's always nice to go out there and hold a team hitless for a few innings and give your team a chance to score some runs for you. Yesterday, you know, things just went the right way. Wind blowing in, you got to like that at Chicago, so, you know, I went with it.
Were there some feelings, though, on the ball club when everybody came to the ballpark about the pending strike and, of course, the feeling that maybe there might not even be a game? How were you able to personally get ready for the ball game?
Well, I was on the conference call for about an hour and a half prior to the game, and you know, there were some anxious people coming in and out of the room wanting to know what's going on, if we were going to strike, if we were not going to strike. You know, there's a lot of anxious people, and come to find out, you know, we weren't going to strike. We were going to hold off to the 12th, and you know, we hung up the phone, and I went and put on my spikes and walked out to the mound and went right at it. So it really didn't affect me that much.
The pitching staff, though, has really come together. The last 3 ball games, you've won 3 in a row in Chicago. David Weathers going in tonight's ball game. He has kind of struggled as of late. Anything that you have that you guys talked about in the pitchers meeting prior to this series against the Mets?
Well, I think the main concern is just to stay aggressive. We've gone out a few ball games in the first inning and not going right at hitters and kind of pitching around people. Next thing you know, we got 2, 3, 4 runs on the board, and you know, it's tough to come back from that deficit. And as a pitcher, you know, starting pitcher, you have to set the tempo. You have to go out there and show the team that you're going to hold them off for a while and give them a chance to score runs. So I'm sure that's Dave's main priority tonight is to hold them off, you know, for the first 3, 4 innings and give us a chance to score.
Well, you certainly set the tempo yesterday. Hopefully David will do it again here tonight. Thanks a lot for the interview, Gardy. Back to you, Jay.
All right, Gary, and despite the foul weather we've had this afternoon and early this evening, we're going to get this one underway on time, it appears. Time now for the Recovery Report. It is brought to you by Physician Corporation of America, PCA Health Plans of Florida. Carl Everett should be able to be back in action in a couple of days. Dave Magadan out for the year. Charlie Huff now on the 60-day DL, out for the year. Ryan Bowen, he'll start here on Sunday afternoon. Brian Harvey, of course, is out for the year with that groin surgery, and Jeremy Hernandez also out for the year with those problems. Here's the pitching matchup tonight. It is Weathers for the Marlins, Saberhagen for the Mets. That sets the scene. Well, we're not going to have too many people here to watch this one tonight, but we're glad you've joined us. The Marlins and the Mets. An American Airlines, something special in Miami with a starting lineup. The Marlins will go with Brown, Carr, and Sheffield, Conine, Colburn, Santiago, Abbott, Barbary, and Weathers.
And with the coming of this Bronya kid, we'll get into that during the broadcast. David Segui has gone out to left field. Thompson Burnett, Jeremy that is playing in the outfield. Bobby Bonilla at third. Jose Vizcaíno at short. Jeff Kinn at second. And Rico Bronya is at first. Todd Hundley doing the catching for Bret Saberhagen. Bret Saberhagen, a record of 12-4 with a 2.82 ERA. This guy is a good pitcher. He might be one of the best pitchers in the National League. Tied for third in wins, fourth in innings pitched, tied for fourth in complete games with 4. You see the rest of his numbers there. Look at the 12 base on balls and the 131 strikeouts. He is 5th in the league in strikeouts, and 0.7 per 9 innings pitch is the walks allowed for Bret Saberhagen. Generally right around the plate, good fastball, breaking ball, and the changeup that sets up that fastball.
Bret Saberhagen from Chicago Heights, Illinois. And what a remarkable pitcher he is. Let's bring you up to date on some roster moves. Rick Renteria has been activated from the DL. The contract outrighted to Edmonton of left-handed pitcher Jeff Mutis. Also sent to Edmonton and activated Mike Myers, and shifted to the 60-day DL Charlie Huff. The weather here tonight, well, it's lousy. 65 degrees is the temperature. Humidity at 55. It has been raining since about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we start in the rain here as Jerry Brown, the governor, takes inside from Saberhagen. Brown batting .292, 29 RBIs, 3 home runs. Another one inside to Brown. Brown hitting .391 over the last week. Charlie Williams calling the balls and strikes. Gary Darling, Jeff Kellogg, and John McSherry, the Dancing Bear, rounding out the crew. Swing and a miss by Brown.
There's one thing about Bret Saberhagen, and it doesn't matter what the weather is. Cold, hot, this guy's out there in short sleeves. Remember we talked about earlier when he pitched a game in Colorado, it was like around 32 degrees.
He's all
out
business,
there in short sleeves.
Yep. Saberhagen donating $25 per strikeout to the Queens Child Guidance Center. His current donation stands at over $3,000. Here's a fly ball off the bat of Brown, and this is Burnett's in right field. Well, that's the way we get underway here tonight at Big Shea. The Marlins start the evening with a record of 48-60 and a team batting average of .264. Chris Hammond, after getting struck by a line drive in Chicago, is okay. He is expected to start Monday against the Cardinals at JRS. Chuck Carr batting .265. Right down to third, and Bonilla throws across, 2 away. Bonilla was positioned perfectly for that shot. The field's taken a lot of water, but pretty good shape. The wind blowing very briskly out to right. And Gary, I want you to talk about the wind currents in this stadium. You played here.
Yes, and actually the wind is kind of deceiving. When it looks like the wind, like the flag is showing, blowing out to right, sometimes I've seen home runs hit out to left field. So it's kind of a swirling wind here at Shea.
And here is Sheffield taking a ball from Saberhagen. The Chef has 21 RBIs in his last 20 games. Now batting .302 against right-handed pitching. .276 on the year for Sheffield. High fly ball into the seats. Gary Sheffield ranks 9th in the National League with a .576 slugging percentage. 39 of his 82 hits have been for extra bases.
He did have a very good series in Chicago. His last 5 games, very productive.
The 1-1 pitch. Fouled into the seats. A lot of umbrellas still up as we are playing in a pretty nice little rain right now.
Thing that Bret Saberhagen does so well, watch this folks, he pulls the string on this, the changeup, and that got Sheffield way out in front and cued it into the stands foul.
Speed pitch. Sheffield way out in front. Saberhagen picks up his first strikeout. No score after a half inning. Back after this from PCA Health Plans of Florida. Back here at Shea Stadium on a rainy night. Here's the lineup presented by American Airlines with service throughout the United States. Vizcaíno, Hundley and Burnitz, Bonilla, Kent, Bronya, Segui, Thompson, and Saberhagen.
And the same winning lineup as yesterday in Wrigley. Conine, Carr, Sheffield in the outfield. Brown, Abbott, Barbary, Colburn along the infield. Santiago behind the plate, catching David Weathers, who has struggled as of late. And looking for a good outing here tonight.
And the first pitch to Vizcaíno.
David Weathers, you see his numbers there, 8 and 10 on the year with a 4.64 ERA. The rest of his numbers.
Here is one into left, and Jeff Conine makes the play. These Mets, their last 3 victories have come in their final at bat, including a pair of wins when they were trailing after 8 innings. So they've been getting the job done.
They certainly, Jay, have been more impressive than they were all of last year.
Oh boy, what a disappointment. Todd Hundley's batting .239, hitting .258 over his last 10 games with 9 runs scored. Hundley, a switch hitter, 26 years old. 99 RBIs for the Mets. Or excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong one. A record 113 consecutive errorless games for Hundley is what I wanted to say. Papers are blowing all over every place here tonight, aren't they? 2 strikes to Hundley. And 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Todd Hundley's average is down a little bit, but his power numbers way up. 16 home runs, 42 RBIs on the year.
Up the middle, Todd Hundley. He's got the first hit for the Mets. Hundley became the 4th Met in their history to hit homers from both sides of the plate. That happened June 18th down at JRS against Rapp and Mutis. Here's Jeremy Burnitz. Burnitz recalled by the Mets July 22nd. He was with New York earlier in the year. Since his return, he's batting .267. He's hit safely in 8 of his 12 games that he's played in. That's low. Joe Orsulak not with the club right now. His wife is ill and he has had to leave the team. Hundley at first with one out. And the toss over. The Mets 52 and 54 coming into tonight's game, and a .252 batting average for the team. They've hit 111 home runs. The Marlins with 88. This team doesn't run much. They've only stolen 24 bases all year. This is popped back and out of play. The Mets are 22 and 28 here at Shea Stadium this year. David Weathers lost his last start, a 13-4 loss versus Montreal. Suffered a mild concussion on that occasion, you may remember, on the back of the head. He was struck by a batted ball off the bat of Rondell White. One ball and two strikes. In the hole in left. So after Vizcaíno flied to left, singles by Hundley and Burnitz. 2 on and 1 out for the big man, Bobby Bonilla.
And this is one area that Burnitz has improved upon. Pitch was up and out over the plate, and he goes opposite field. When he first came up, he was very conscious of pulling everything. And now the good job of hitting to the opposite field. Runners at first and second for Bobby Bo.
And Bonilla's hit safely now in 7 of his last 8 games. Batted .375 with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. Low, ball 1.
Bonilla is hitting .333, 2 for 6 lifetime off of David Weathers.
Fouled out of play into the seats in left. Earlier this year, Bonilla set a club record with RBIs in 9 straight games. He had 13 RBIs over that period from May 20th through the 29th. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hundley and Burnitz on the base paths. Low.
Abbott was coming in behind Hundley, and I think Santiago had intentions of throwing down there. Just didn't have the handle on the ball.
This afternoon, San Diego beat Chicago 4-2. The Cubs still have only won 19 games at Wrigley Field, the lowest home game win total in the majors. 3 balls and 1 strike. Full count. Gary Bonilla batting .305 this year with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, his power numbers, 20 home runs and the 62 RBIs, I mean, those are pretty good power numbers. But for the most part, this is not a ball club that relies on any kind of speed. It's almost like they really rely on the base hits and the home runs.
And Bonilla hit it up the middle, and Hundley scores, and the Mets are up 1-0. And on the throw, Bonilla went to second.
That's probably going to be an error on Chuck Carr for just floating that ball in there. He just lobbed it. I mean, he didn't put anything on it, and the ball carried up and over both of the infields, but
Bonilla again gets a pitch up over the plate and goes up the middle by the diving Barbary, and the Mets take the early lead 1-0. And on the throw, as you said, Bonilla now in scoring position, and it is going to be an error on Chuck Carr.
So it's Burnett's over at third, Bonilla at second, a run home, and here's Jeff Kent. He has 13 RBIs in his last 15 games. Kent batting .382, 19 RBIs, 7 home runs. And he's hitting .316 here at Shea Stadium this year in 45 games.
Hitting .308 against the Marlins this year, 8 for 26 with 5 RBIs.
Foul back right below our broadcast position, just off to the right. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Last year, Jeff Kent was a real Marlin killer, hitting 4 home runs and had 9 RBI.
Ball in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. David Weathers out there on the hill tonight for the Marlins. 8-10 the record. Misses, hit into left. Burnett comes home. Bonilla comes home. The ball all the way to the wall. A double for Jeff Kent. And it is the Mets up 3-0. That double is the 21st of the year for Kent. And Weathers is being rocked around here at Shea Stadium.
Once again, David Weathers up in the strike zone, or actually Kent hit a pretty decent pitch, but the fact is he left it out over the plate. Kent took care of the rest and drilled it into left center field and picked up 2 more RBIs. He now leads the ball club with 64. Bobby Bonilla briefly was the leader on the team with 63, and Jeff Kent just took it right back away from him. I'm sure Frank Rehberger is out there to try and settle David Weathers down. He really has struggled in his last few starts, and primarily not getting pitches where he wants them. When you make mistakes on good hitters, they're going to take advantage of it.
4 hits in a row for the Mets, who lead 3-0. And here is Rico Brogna batting .382. Quite a story, this young man. He was mired in a deep slump when he got the call to come up from the minor leagues, and he has been on a tear. He's hit safely in 12 straight games. Batted .489 over that period. Fouls that away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Richie Lewis in the pen for the Marlins.
Yeah, there was a great article in the Post today on Rico Brogna from Watertown, Connecticut. They were talking about what a great 3-sport star he was there.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, he was a great basketball player. He scored over 1,000 points in his high school career, and there you see what he's been doing lately. Whoa.
The Mets rookie record, do you know who that is? 23 games. Mike Vail. Do you remember that name?
I do remember that name. This is out into left. Jeff Kent coming home. 4-0 New York. And Rico Brogna continues his hitting. That's 20 RBIs for Brogna. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Marlins Television Network.
You're watching WIRB TV 56 Melbourne, serving Indian River and Brevard counties.
Along with Gary Carter, Jay Randolph here at Shea Stadium, where the Mets are on a tear in the opening inning. This is David Segui batting .243. David Weathers got the first man out in this inning, and that has been it. Everybody else has banged him for a hit. 4 singles and a double. And 4 runs on 5 hits now.
Well, in that group, it seemed like Bronya was about the only one that hit a tough pitch that was inside, and he fought it off, and that gave the Mets an additional run. This is almost reminiscent of the outing that Charlie Huff had back at JRS, where he lasted only 1/3 of an inning.
Segui has a 3-game streak going, hitting .455. He's 5 for 11 over the last 3 games with a pair of runs scored. Segui hitting .243 on the year.
Going to take another look at Rico Bronya's hit, and watch on the inner half. Boom, and then he slices it inside, outing it, hitting it over the head of Abbott and dinks it into left field. Good job of hitting.
Up the middle, and the hit parade continues for these Mets, and Bronya goes to third. 6 consecutive hits for the Mets. Rene Latchman a bit distressed, and you couldn't blame him at this point.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if he lets David Weathers go any further. I guess he's going to allow him to pitch to Ryan Thompson, but I haven't had a chance to really see any kind of movement on Weathers in recent games, except that has to be one of the reasons maybe he's getting hit a little bit more in recent days, because he was very effective with that sinker down and the breaking ball, and then that split finger. Seems like guys are laying off some of those pitches down and going for those pitches out over the plate that don't have a lot more movement on it. Remember, he was relying a lot on the ground ball, getting a lot of double play balls, and we haven't seen that recently.
Thompson has 3 home runs and 5 RBIs in his last 8 games. He has 18 homers on the year and 59 RBIs, although he's only batting .228. Earlier he had a 7-game hitting streak. That was back in the first week of June. 2 strikes the count. On the ground, a double play ball. Yes, and finally the Mets are retired. They lead it 4-0 after 1 inning. We'll be back. Mets have a 4-0 lead after an inning of play. Gary Sheffield there with David Weathers. Dave just shaking his head.
Well, it was a good way to get out of the inning, though, getting the double play ball. That was absolutely perfect, and hopefully now the Mets won't get any more runs.
That was the 106th double play for the Marlins.
David threw 27 pitches that inning. I'm sure he will be closely watched throughout the rest of the game.
Jeff Conine to lead it off for Rene Latchman's club. Conine, Colburn, and Santiago. Conine's average at .318, 78 RBIs, 18 home runs.
But he likes hitting off of Mr. Saberhagen. Jeff Conine lifetime 8 for 14, a .571 average.
Strike on the outside corner. Saberhagen right now the major league active career leader. Strikeout to walk ratio. He's the head of the likes of Ferguson Jenkins and Cy Young and Walter Johnson and Juan Marichal and Christy Matheson.
Who?
that really is.
That's a pretty good group of guys right there to be.
Excellent company, you might say. Outside, 3 balls and 1 strike to Conine. Conine, who needs 1 RBI to match his career high set last season. coming in tonight with 78. Hit on the ground, out to the shortstop. Vizcaino throws across. And Greg Colburn will come up. Colby over the last week has hit .292, hitting .336 in his last 31 games. The Marlins, after taking 3 out of 4 and 3 in a row from Chicago, flew in here last night. Started raining about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and it is still sprinkling, although this front hopefully is moving on out. The weather forecast for tomorrow and Sunday is better.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, anything would be better than what we've had over the last 4 hours. Huh?
Yeah.
And just foul. That ball almost hit the line.
And that must be the reason why they call John McSherry the dancing bear. He danced right away from that line drive off the bat of Colburn. There he is.
That's a nickname I gave him a few years ago.
Oh, I thought it was.
Tell you what he calls me.
Oh, okay. You mean I might be able to use it in reference some other time?
Yeah, you might. No balls and 2 strikes to Colburn. And a ball in the dirt. This man throwing tonight, of course, won the American League Cy Young Award in '85. And another one for Vizcaino. 2 gone. And of course, Saberhagen also won the Cy Young in '89 after leading the majors in wins, ERA, complete games, innings pitched, and winning percentage.
Well, Jay, most of your good pitchers are going to be around the plate. You look at Greg Maddux, who they proclaim is the best pitcher in the major leagues today, and he doesn't walk very many guys. He's usually around the plate, but he also has command of all of his pitches.
Santiago fouling the first one off.
And when I mean command of all of his pitches, he can throw them at any time, whether he's behind in the count or ahead in the count, whatever it might be. And that's the kind of style pitcher that Bret Saberhagen is.
Well, I would rate Maddux probably the best pitcher in the National League today, but this fellow's not far behind.
No, he is not.
Know. The hook is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You look over in the American League and you have to talk about David Cone, and you have to say Jimmy Key probably from the left side.
Yeah. Swing and a miss by Benny. One of 6 active major league catchers with 100 or more career homers, and Benny batting .275, has hit 11 home runs this year and has 40 RBIs. He's also done a good job throwing out runners, but he strikes out here. That is the 2nd strikeout for Saberhagen. And we'll return after this from American Airlines. Well, let me remind you to stop by your local Nations Bank Banking Center. Enter the Marlins Cash Encounters. It's conducted every Saturday at Marlin home games. And prior to the August 13th game versus the Pirates, Nations Bank Blimp releases $5,000 in cash, and a lucky contestant has 30 seconds to go for the green. Bret Saberhagen named the National League pitcher for the month of July. Saberhagen hitting .189 as an RBI. He also has a record of 12-4 and an ERA of 2.82. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cincinnati and Atlanta in the 2nd inning are tied 3-3. Montreal's at Philadelphia, no score in the 2nd. That's low. St. Louis is playing at Pittsburgh, and they're 1-1 in that game. Pittsburgh batting in the bottom of the 2nd. just underway. San Francisco at Houston, LA at Colorado later. Saberhagen had an idea.
Saberhagen's a very good athlete, not only a good pitcher, but swings the bat pretty well for a pitcher, and can do the little things like bunting right there to try and get himself on base. He fields his position extremely well too, but how he waited back and look at the bat angle was perfect, just popped it up.
And this down there at the third base coach, and Mike Cubbage tosses it into the stands. And at first base, Hondo, the great Frank Howard.
Hondo's got a birthday coming up.
I think he just had it, didn't he?
Oh, I told him happy birthday today, and he said it's a couple days.
Oh, I don't know why. I thought it was yesterday, maybe. I'll have to look that up. Saberhagen grounds out 6-3. I think.
I'll look it up.
Okay, take a look.
I'll take a look and make sure.
His birthday was.
I thought so too, and when I wished him happy birthday, he said, "No, that's in a couple of days."
Well, maybe it's always in a couple of days now.
All right. Yeah, you're right. It was August 3rd.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, Hondo, congratulations, 58."
58.
Yep.
That's right. Vizcaíno flied to left. And this is outside of first.
So he was pulling my leg.
Yes, he was.
That son of a gun.
But he's been known to do that.
Oh, I see. Well, the Mets have certainly not pulled our leg. They have slapped 4 on us very quickly, and in the Marlins' last 10 games, the opponents have outscored the Marlins 24-2 in the first inning.
That has been a tough stat.
Well, they were leading that department earlier.
Yeah.
Remember, they were way up there in
Marlins
scoring
were
first
doing
runs.
very well in the first inning over the first couple of months of this season. That's low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Over in the American League, Detroit's leading Toronto in the second inning 1-0. The other game's just getting underway. We'll be updating you on the scores throughout the evening. The weather improving here, but still a light rain falling. And Brett Barbary can't find the handle in time.
That probably will be an error on Barb's. The ball, he tried to backhand it, and in some ways you could say it was a base hit, but when it rolled up his arm and he fumbled it so many times, that's exactly what the official score has ruled it. An error on the second baseman.
That's the second error of the game for the Marlins. Back in the first, Chuck Carr charged with an error. Here's Todd Hundley, who singled and scored. Hundley swings and misses at the first offering from David Weathers.
Todd Hundley has already bested his most home runs in a season. He had 11 last year, and this year already has 16. He did have 53 RBIs, so he's still waiting to go over that total.
At one point earlier in the year, the Marlins had outscored their opponents 41-19 in the first inning.
That was in those first couple of months that you mentioned.
Really gone downhill since then.
Yeah.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The wind really whipping through this stadium as this front's going through.
It's not as cold as it was when we were here last time.
Oh, no. No, that's true.
I mean, this is summer, Jay. It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, yeah. You can see, look at the umbrellas in the wind. I mean, they're taking a pretty good beating. When we arrived here at the park just about 5 o'clock this afternoon, the rain was really coming down. The 2-2 pitch, lined, beautiful catch out there by Abbott. So there are 2 out.
Well, Hundley hit the ball extremely hard, but the only problem is that Abbott had to go down to get it. And when he came up, Vizcaino was able to retreat back and avoid the double play.
Here's Jeremy Burnitz, who singled and scored in the first.
I was just going to say, you can see how far Vizcaino was off. And if Abbott didn't have to go down on all fours, he might have got Vizcaino back at first.
That wasn't an easy play for Abbott because that ball was tailing away from him so fast. Two balls and no strikes. If you're just joining us, the Mets hit the Marlins with 4 in the first. 4 runs on 6 hits. They're in the bottom of the second inning. Vizcaino at first. 2 out. It's in the dirt, 3-0. Weathers steps back on the mound. Gets that one in for a strike. Charlie Williams calling the balls and strikes tonight. Had a nice visit today with Roger Johnson and his son Jackie, who are here for the weekend series from North Miami Beach. A lot of Marlin fans in Chicago and here in New York.
On the 3-1 pitch, Vizcaino probably will be going.
He is, and there is the throw, but it's a walk. And that is the first walk given up by David Weathers. So runners at first and second for Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla with a single and an RBI, later scored in the first. Outside for a ball.
And kind of hearing the fan reaction, you remember when Bobby Bo came here to the Mets, he was very scrutinized for his style of play and all, and yet it seems like he's won a lot of hearts over.
Swing and a miss. Well, he's back at third, of course, and he's from New York, 31 years old. His game seemed to turn around when Dallas Green took over here, Gary.
I think so. I think that had a lot to do with it.
High, 2 balls and 1 strike.
But in his first year with the Mets, he hit only .249, had 19 home runs and 70 RBIs. Last year he had 34 home runs, although his RBIs were not that good with 34 home runs, just 87. But his power numbers are up, and I guess one of the reasons why he has endeared himself back to the fans.
This shot into center field. Chucky Carr made the catch.
Wow.
Oh, wow, what a catch by Carr on the dead run at the 410 mark against the wall. The score remains 4-0. We've played 2. Now this from your local station. Headed into the third inning here. Chuck Carr just making a remarkable play in center field.
Yeah, he ran a long way for this ball and never took his eyes off of him. Look at it. Had his sights on it all the way and made the great over-the-shoulder catch, and his head facing right into the wall. That's going to be on a lot of highlight films.
The Chuckster with another fine play.
You keep making catches like that, you can act however you want to.
Yes, sir. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Florida Marlins. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Marlins. The grounds crew out working on the mound. Charlie Williams, excuse me, the plate umpire, getting the grounds crew out there. We are still playing in a light shower, and this entire game has been played in a shower. The field took a lot of water late this afternoon and early this evening. Kurt Abbott Brett Barbary and David Weathers due here in the third inning for the Marlins. Mets leading 4-0. Check swing foul by Abbott. Abbott hitting .280 over the last week. He's hit in 4 of his last 7. 17 of his 32 RBIs have come by the home run. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. The New York Yankees got 3 in the first at Minnesota. Here's a fly ball into right center. And it's handled out there by Thompson.
When you mentioned about the Yankees playing the Minnesota Twins, it comes to mind the great comment that Kent Herbeck made about his retirement. He says it's like playing blackjack. You're dealt a 20, but the dealer has a 21, just a little bit short. And he says that's the way he's been feeling as of late, just a little bit short.
Helpless.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he figured it was a good time maybe to step down, obviously. Brett Barbary batting .291. Brett, who has 5 home runs and 29 RBIs, lines it right to Bronya. Barb's hit it right on the nose, but right at the Met first baseman.
Barb stays on this changeup. We've said in recent days some of those pitches he'd been getting out in front of, but he stays right on that one. But unfortunately, someone happens to be there. He's been there for over 120 years. In fact, 125th anniversary this year. I remember guys used to say that whenever we'd hit line drives at somebody, and they'd say, "Don't you know there's a guy that plays there? Been there for over 100 years."
1 ball and 1 strike. David Weathers needs 1 win for the Marlin record for the most wins by a right-hander. Hoping to get it here tonight. If he does, the Marlins are going to have to come back against the always tough Bret Saberhagen. 1-2. Atlanta's gone up 4-3 at Cincinnati. Cincinnati batting in the bottom of the third inning, and 3rd strikeout for Saberhagen, who has retired the first 9. We'll return after this from Nations Bank. To the bottom of the third inning, and it'll be Kent, Bronya, and Segui for the Mets. It's just outside. Kent doubled, picked up 2 RBIs, his 63rd and 64th, and later scored back in the first inning when the Mets plated 4 runs on 6 hits. One ball and 1 strike. That caught the outside corner. Good pitch. And a strikeout.
Kent knew it too. He was on his way already back to the dugout when home plate umpire Charlie Williams was making the call. He was looking breaking ball, and David Weathers went with the fastball back inside. Good pitch. Take another look. Kent was looking for a pitch out over the plate or even away, and busted him in.
Rico Bronya picked up RBI number 20 on the year, batting over .380. Single in the first inning.
Yeah, this kid also still has the record for the longest field goal. I mean, this guy has got a lot of records. 54 yards he kicked in high school.
Well, he has been quite a story and a big fan favorite all of a sudden here in New York. 2 balls and 1 strike. Down to first. Colburn makes the play on his own. 2 gone. Well, a reminder, the Marlins have teamed up with Blockbuster Video to bring you a home run kind of a deal. You rent 3 videos and Blockbuster will give you a Marlins ticket certificate, and that is good for 2 free mezzanine reserve seats. So 2 free Marlin tickets for renting 3 videos. Why not stop by Blockbuster and hit a home run real soon? Segui singled in the first. In for a strike. Toronto leads Detroit 3-1. They're in the second inning. Baltimore 1-0 over Milwaukee in the second. It's raining up in Boston, and Cleveland and Boston have been held up. They start there as they wait for the rain to subside. Strike on the inside corner, 0-2. Texas at Oakland later. Chicago at California later. Cincinnati now with the lead back. It played 2 innings and scored 9 runs in that game. Cincinnati 5, Atlanta 4. Cincinnati still batting in the bottom of the second inning. High, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Houston got a run in the first in the Dome. They lead San Francisco 1-0 going into the second inning. Abbott can't pick it up. Well, that is the 3rd error for the Marlins, and some of it you might attribute to the condition of the field, but Abbott should have made that play.
Well, you said earlier, though, Jay, the field is not in that bad a condition. Maybe the ball, well, I was going to say maybe it was a little slippery, but yet what it did is that it just came right out of the tip of Abbott's glove, and then he slipped a bit. So maybe the ground is a little soft, but I don't think that should have caused the error.
Ryan Thompson hit into a double play that ended the first inning as 8 went to bat. Well, the Marlins have committed errors in each of the first 3 innings. Brown makes a nice play as he got to it going to his left and threw on to Barbary. Mets lead 4-0. We'll continue after this from your local station. A cold and damp Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York. Mets lead at 4-0. Tonight's trivia question is brought to you by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Can you name the last Mets pitcher who won both games of a doubleheader? We'll be back in the 7th inning to give you that answer. Don't play many doubleheaders anymore. We might have had to play one if this one was rained out tonight.
I would have to say that would have been a relief pitcher.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so I don't think it was a starting pitcher.
No, didn't start.
All right.
That you have to go way back to the guys starting both ends of a doubleheader. Well, Jerry Brown will lead it off the top of the order here in the 4th as Saberhagen has gone through the Marlins in order. He gets the curve in there.
Well, Jay, I did some research and asked if that was the most hits in a row by the Mets in an inning, and they said it ties the most in 1 inning.
Check swing, bounder on 1 hop down there to Bonilla, and he throws on.
And I also asked what was the most runs. Well, they said they scored 7 in 1 inning, and yet ended up losing the game. So the Marlins have a chance here. Okay.
You never know. A lot of baseball to be played.
You bet.
Brown is out 5-3. He is 0 for 2. He had flied to right in the first. Here's Chuck Carr, who grounded out. He hit a little shot off the end of the bat down to Bonilla.
See, there's one thing I wanted to mention about a pitcher that has control of all of his pitches, and that's just simply that you don't have to always throw strikes. There are pitchers that are throwers, and then there are pitchers that know what it takes to throw certain pitches around the strike zone. And then in other cases, like that first pitch to Chuck Carr, wasn't even close.
Saberhagen having a little trouble with the mound on that last pitch. Didn't fire. This one is ball 2.
But the whole idea about pitching is to keep that hitter thinking at all times and always on his toes and not knowing what pitch might come in next.
That one drops in.
Now that's a good way to describe a great job of pitching. He throws that one in the dirt, comes fastball up and in, and throws Chuck Carr a 2-0 changeup.
Right up the middle. Carr has the first hit for the Marlins. Chucky, the first base runner. Maybe the Marlins can peck away now. Get back into this one, down 4-0.
Well, the mistake was that he didn't throw his good fastball. Took a little something off of that, and Chuck Carr took care of the rest, lining it right back through the middle and picking up the Marlins' first hit on the night. So there's a start.
Sheffield struck out in the first. Low for a ball. Two balls and no strikes. And that is low. 3-0. Sheffield looking down to Cookie Rojas.
I would imagine down by 4 runs, he would not have the hit sign right here.
3-1.
And that was right down Broadway. Those are those kind of pitches that you say, boy, I hope he comes back with another one identical.
And a foul, and 3-2.
And the same thing applies here, where maybe Chuck Carr might be holding his ground at first base, the 3-2 count. Although Rene Lansman, we've said on so many occasions, likes to be aggressive on the base paths.
Carr is running, foul back.
Chuck Carr with a pretty decent jump, but you see where he maybe got caught up a little bit in the soft dirt around first base. Saberhagen really didn't pay that much attention to Carr. See if he goes over there now.
Well, he does, and a good move. Carr is back. Carr with 31 stolen bases. Been hot on this trip, Gary. You knew he was going over there, didn't you?
Well, Deion Sanders still leads the league with those 36 bags. Everybody on his heels, though.
Time called. Why Carr gets himself squared away a little bit there, visiting with Beta Pinson. Another 3-2 coming to Sheffield. There goes Carr. Fly ball into left. Segui. 2 gone. Conine due up. Tomorrow evening, these two teams playing Game 2. Pat Rapp will go against Jason Jacome. He spells his name Jacome. It's a silent J, the Spanish J, I guess, with the H.
Jacome?
Jacome. That game at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening as part of the Baseball Network television coverage. And Sunday we'll be back with you, and Ryan Bowen gets the call. He'll come off the DL. Marlins will have to make another move. First start since May the 9th, and he will be going against our old friend Undecided or TBA.
Oh, okay.
Carr running again, and Chuck Carr down at second. The stolen base is his 32nd of the season.
Well, this was a case where Saberhagen didn't really take him for granted, but he took an off-speed pitch, and Chuck Carr, I guess, was informed by second baseman Jeff Kent to stay up. Otherwise, you would have seen the head-first dive.
Deep into the hole, and no play. Carr at third, Conine at first. Runners at the corners for Colburn. Second hit of the game.
Conine got a breaking ball out over the plate and grounds it into the hole. Vizcaino didn't have a play at first and runs it in. Carr rounded the bag at third, but then held his ground thanks to Cookie Rojas, who threw the lasso out and pulled him back.
Gave him the hook, huh?
Yep.
Colburn grounded out in the second. Colburn hits it down there, and Bonilla makes the play in time across to Jeff Kent. The Marlins strand two. After 3.5 innings, 4-0 Mets. Now this from Builders Square. The Mets are leading at 4-0. The Marlins have moved on from Chicago here to Shea Stadium. And you youngsters, I want to remind you to stop by the Incredible Universe. Enter the Marlins Jumbotron Joust Sweepstakes. Prior to Tuesday, August 9th game against the Cardinals, two youngsters 16 and younger test their Sega video skills on the Jumbotron scoreboard. So stop by the Incredible Universe and enter to win an incredible chance to play Jumbotron Joust. You can see that everybody's bundled up pretty good. It's, well, for a lot of us, very cool. Not for Saberhagen. He's got no sweatshirt on tonight. He just down there, everything's fine. He grounded out back in the second.
Well, maybe he's very warm-blooded, Jay.
Might be.
I mean, I don't have my coat on. You got a big old thick sweater on, and you've been asking for your coat.
That's correct.
Come on.
Yes, your blood gets a little thinner as you get older.
No, just grind it out, babe.
I'll grind it out. All right. And Abbott throws out Saberhagen for the second time in the game. One gone here in the bottom of the fourth inning for the Mets.
This time Abbott comes in and plays it very well on the one short hop and then fires across to Colby.
Looking now at a couple of the puddles, it appears the rain has stopped completely. Vizcaino has flied to left and reached on an error. And a high chopper. And Barbary can't make the play. Ball bounced over the glove of Abbott. It'll be an infield single.
Well, that's one of those do-or-die plays. Again, the bounding ball like that, you want to get it as you're coming in, your momentum coming in, and you either come up with it or you don't. And that time Abbott did not. Barbary was right there backing him up, but Vizcaino beats it out easily.
Todd Hundley has singled and scored and lined to short. Ball one. Hundley steps back in. Runners going. Foul outside of first. We'll be back with you on Sunday here on the Marlins TV Network, Channel 33, and the over-the-air affiliates. We'll be on the air at 1:30 Eastern Time. After the Sunday action, the Marlins heading home for a series against the Cardinals. Cardinals right now leading at Pittsburgh 3-1 in the fourth inning. Here it is 4-0 Mets. Throw over to first. Third inning at Minnesota, the Yankees are up 3-1. Toronto leads Detroit 3-1 in the fourth. Still raining in Boston. They haven't gotten underway. Cleveland playing there tonight. Cincinnati leading 5-4 over Atlanta at Riverfront in the fourth inning. Now a foul. Montreal has a 2-0 lead down in Philadelphia at the Vet. Phillies batting in the 4th. Again this afternoon it was the Padres 4 and Chicago 2. Houston leading the Giants 2-0, 3rd inning. Giants batting in the Dome. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another foul out of play.
Well, I remember Todd Hundley having somewhat of an open stance, but it seems like he's adopted more of the open style like Andres Galarraga. He is big time open.
Well, the way it worked for Galarraga, you might give it a try, huh?
Yes.
Galarraga, of course, on the shelf these days. In the dirt.
See, the only thing sometimes that you're vulnerable to, a lot of times you'll hear scouting reports and they say, well, go ahead and pitch him in. And you've seen what Todd Hundley has done is that he's fouled a lot of pitches off, but he's pulled everything. When you have an open stance like that and you've got both eyes peered in on the pitcher and the ball coming in, a lot of time the ball looks so good that you end up trying to pull out too much.
The 2-2 pitch, and he went around. The strikeout is the 2nd for Weathers.
And that right there is a prime example. The ball looks so big and so good, but Todd Hundley, it seemed like, was swinging at everything. And this pitch not even close, way in the dirt. The hard breaking ball, Santiago doing a good job of stopping it to keep Vizcaino at first base.
Burnitz tonight has singled and scored and walked. In the dirt, good stop made. That's inside. 2 balls and no strikes. And 3-0. The inside corner. Runner at first, Vizcaino. 3 balls and 1 strike to count, 2 out. Just joining us, the Mets got 4 in the first. They did it on 6 hits. They were 6 consecutive hits. 4-7-0 for the Mets. 0-2-3 for the Marlins. Runner goes. Long one into right. And foul. Well, he got good wood on that. That's.
Well, the wind might have helped that one a little bit to blow it foul. Take a look at the swing. It's a powerful one, and Burnitz does have good power. Great extension and turned on it, but it just ended up going foul. 3-2 count. They'll do it again, and Vizcaino will be going from first.
And the pitch is low. That is the 2nd walk given up by David Withers. Both of those walks to Burnitz. Rehberger coming out to talk to his hurler.
That's also going to get the bullpen busy again. Looks like Terry Matthews is starting to loosen up down there.
Matthews. It's some game they're having at Cincinnati. Atlanta's back in front now 6-5.
Wow.
They're in the 4th inning. Atlanta batting. Leads changed hands there about 3 times. Bobby Bonilla singled, picked up an RBI and scored in the 1st. He flied deep to center field. Chuck Carr making the catch right at the base of the wall out there. 2 on and 2 out. Bonilla fouls it back. A little high. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bonilla. See if there's going to be a play. No, off one of the TV cameras down there as Brown tried to come in there but couldn't quite get to it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Take another look here. Jerry Brown sizing things up. And just out of his reach, but it hit right on top of the camera, which he leans over, and you can see that if he was right there, he might have been able to come up with it.
Inside to Bonilla, 2-2. Vizcaino at second and Burnett's at first. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Three and 2. Runners on the move, and it's drilled into the gap in right center. Here comes Vizcaino. Here comes Burnett's. A double for Bonilla and 2 more RBIs. Bonilla now with 65 RBIs on the year. And here comes Rene Lachemann. That's going to be it for David Weathers. He has given up 6 runs on 8 hits. The Mets teed off on him early. 6 straight hits in the 1st inning to plate 4. Get 2 more in the 4th. There goes David Weathers and Terry Matthews trotting in. We'll be back after this AT&T call to the bullpen. A cool, windy night at Shea Stadium, but the rain has stopped. The Mets, though, have a half a dozen. Matthews in relief of Weathers. Matthews 2-1, the 2.95 ERA, holding right-handed hitters to a 205 batting average. Jeff Kent puts it into right field. And Bobby Bonilla coming home. Kent has 3 RBIs on the night, 65 on the year. And that run, of course, is charged to Weathers, so the line score is complete on David Weathers. 3 2/3, 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks.
And it's pretty much been the heart of the order that has produced for the Mets. 3 RBIs for Bonilla, and now 3 RBIs for Kent, going opposite field and driving in another one.
Here is Rico Bronya, who has the other RBI. Got it with a single in the first. Then he grounded out in the third. 7 runs on 9 hits for the New Yorkers. Strike 1 to Bronya. Lined right to Jerry Brown. It is 7-0 Mets. Back here at Shea. Mets 7-0. Our upcoming schedule. Tomorrow, of course, the game here in New York. And then Sunday afternoon, we'll be back with you. The Cardinals and the Pirates coming in on this next homestand, and we'll pause for station identification. This is the Marlins Television Network. Benito Santiago fouls back the first offering from Saberhagen here in the 5th. Benny struck out in the 2nd. Talks continuing here in New York, Gary, of course, between the two sides. The players headed up by Donald Fair and Mr. Ravitch representing the owners. Those talks continuing. No real progress reported by either side, but that's not expected right at this time.
Yeah, but come on, there's not that much time. A week away from the strike date.
It'll get interesting in about 5 or 6 days. Benny has a single up the middle. That's the 3rd hit for the Marlins. Santiago, who came into tonight batting .275.
The riding fastball comes back out over the plate, and Santiago drills it right back through the middle and picks up his first hit on the night.
And Atlanta now has a 3-run lead over Cincinnati at Cincinnati. Atlanta 8, Cincinnati 5. Reds batting in the bottom of the 4th. Abbott fly to center in the 3rd. And he went around on the curveball.
But as far as the talks go, they've got a long way to go.
Sure they do.
That's the unfortunate part of it. And of course, they're trying to resolve it with help from the Clinton administration, the Secretary of State. There's a lot of people getting involved here, but the only thing is we're not getting a lot of the Secretary of Labor, not the Secretary of State, but the Secretary
Maybe
of Labor.
He'll get involved eventually.
Well, sure, why not get everybody involved? But basically, it's just an unfortunate situation.
Into the seats and right. Well, there's still plenty of time to resolve it.
Hey, listen,
it's amazing how many players I talk to are optimistic.
Yep. Or as you like to say, optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yeah. But, Jay, listen, the thing is, I remember 1985. We went out on strike one day.
That's right.
Playing baseball.
That's correct. Abbott strikes out, and that is strikeout number 4 for Saberhagen. 1 on and 1 out for Barbary.
Another look at this breaking ball from Saberhagen. It's a dandy, and Abbott goes down swinging.
Barbary fouls it back. Barbary lined out to first. Back in the 3rd inning. Montreal is shutting out Philadelphia. The Phillies are batting now in the bottom of the 5th. Montreal leads 4-0. Todd Hundley got to that ball in time, but Santiago couldn't make a move. St. Louis leads Pittsburgh 7-2. 4th inning at Pittsburgh. The game at Boston has been called, postponed because of the rain up there tonight. Cleveland at Boston.
You know, the thing that probably discourages most people the most is the amount of teams that were mentioned that were losing money. And two names that they said, the White Sox and the Dodgers, that's hard to believe.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
The reason why I say that about the Dodgers, especially the O'Malleys, they originally bought the land around where Chavez Ravine is, right? They own the stadium, they own the concessions, they own the parking, everything. So how could they be losing? that just boggles my mind.
Yeah, they bought that property for $1.
$1. It was a dump site.
That's right. $1 from the city of Los Angeles. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And look at what they turned it into. A gold mine.
Well, depending on who you talk to, I guess.
Yep.
This fly ball will be caught in center field by Thompson. And Greg O'Halloran will come to the plate. O'Halloran might be headed back to the minors on Sunday when Ryan Bowen is activated. It'll be interesting to see who is sent down.
Well, for the first time in a while, the Marlins have 6 guys that they can use off the bench. That doesn't happen very often.
It hasn't this season, has it?
No, it's pretty much been 5 guys.
With all of those injury problems. 1 strike to O'Halloran. Collected his first major league RBI with a 5th inning sacrifice fly against Montreal. And of course he is a Canadian from the Toronto area. Was hitting .316 with 4 homers at Portland. One ball and 2 strikes. And down he goes. That is the 5th strikeout for Saberhagen. 4.5 have been played, and we'll be back after we remind you for this from Publix. Mets are up 7-0, and a reminder, the home run payoff is back. To enter the home run payoff, get the entry form, Nations Bank, Builders Square, or Nissan dealers. We pick a winner for every home run the Marlins hit, and you can win Marlins fan packs from Nations Bank, Builders Square gift certificates, 2 tickets to London from American Airlines, or a Nissan Maxima. The home run payoff. Richie Lewis out on the mound. 1-4 on the year and the 5.26 ERA. The other numbers on Richie. Leads the club in appearances. This is his 43rd appearance of the year. He'll face David Segui, who's 1 for 2. He is singled and reached on an error. Little popper out back of third. Brown is there. Richie Lewis getting the call. Richie is holding right-handed hitters to a .231 average this season, and he has struck out 38 batters in his last 43 1/3 innings of pitching. The former Florida State star, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Marlins. And here's Ryan Thompson, who's hit into a double play and grounded out. He pops it up, and Colburn in foul territory makes this play, and they're 2 gone quickly. And Saberhagen, who has grounded out on both his occasions, runs on 9 hits. The Marlins shut out on 3 hits by Saberhagen to this point. Here's the pitching pairing tomorrow night. Remember, 8 Eastern time, on the Baseball Network on ABC stations. And we'll be back here on Sunday when Ryan Bowen gets the start. Don't know yet who the Mets will pitch. It's his first start since May the 9th. Bowen will come off the DL. And there's Rybo. Rick Renteria, who is back on the active roster tonight, as Jeff Mutis has been sent out. Renteria very busy these days as the acting player rep, because Brian Harvey, of course, is convalescing from the surgery for that groin problem. Jerry Brown to lead it off. He is flied to right and grounded out. The governor fouls it back. Houston 5-0 over San Francisco now. That game in the Dome, and they're just in the third inning.
Well, maybe Mr. Bagwell did a little bit more damage tonight.
Yeah. Minnesota's come back to tie the Yankees. They're 3-3 in the fourth. That game in Minnesota tonight. 2 balls and 1 strike. Again, I'll remind you, Cleveland and Boston postponed because of rain. Kansas City playing great baseball, and they are leading 2-0 at Kansas City over Seattle in the fourth. This gets by down the line, and the governor goes for 2, and it is a double for Jerry Brown to lead off the 6th inning.
Well, Bobby Bonilla was not playing back. He was trying to take the bunt away from Jerry Brown, and when he slapped it, he just got it by the outstretched glove of Bonilla, and it was right down the line. Brown easily getting to second base, but because you can see where Bonilla was playing a couple of steps in front of the first base bag, that's what allowed Brown to get the ball by him.
15th double of the season for Brown. Chuck Carr is 1 for 2, grounded out in the first, singled in the fourth, and he moves Brown along with this play.
Well, that's nice to see. Even though it's a 7-0 game, a lot of times Chuck Carr will maybe try and go for the pump and maybe hit the home run or something, but this time he does his job hitting down on the ball and moves Brown along to third.
Sheffield at the plate. He is struck out and flied to left. And it's hit into left, right at Segui. And coming home and in is Jerry Brown. Boy, that ball got out there to Segui very fast as Sheffield hit it right on the nose. Brown tagged and came home, and Sheffield has picked up RBI number 71 on the sac liner to left.
Sheffield right on the pitch, but a liner right at Segui. Brown waited, and then Segui, a very good throw from left field that made the play extremely close, but when the ball hit, it bounded up, and Hundley couldn't come up with it. Jerry Brown sliding home safely, making the game now 7-1.
Conine is grounded out and singled. Strike 1 to Niner. One ball and 1 strike. Yankees back in front of Minnesota 4-3. Yankees are batting in the top of the fourth at Minnesota. Back to our right. It's in the dirt. 2-2. LA and Colorado are underway, and Colorado has won in the first and still batting at Mile High Stadium against the Dodgers. 3-2. Mets got 4 in the first, 3 in the fourth. Marlins with 1 here in the 6th, and that's foul. Had to wait for the first base umpire, Darling, to give that a call as we lose the line from our viewpoint. Another foul. Back to the screen. Conine steps back in. This is foul outside of third. The middle. Well, a good job of hitting by Conine. He hung in there, and he is 2 for 3.
Well, the one thing you're going to know when you face Bret Saberhagen, he's not going to walk very many guys. So when he ran the count to 3-2, Conine fouled off a lot of pitches, and then Saberhagen tried to throw the breaking ball out over the plate, and Conine delivered it right back up through the middle. There's been 3 of the 5 hits now that have been hit right back up the middle.
Colburn has grounded out twice. High for a ball. Caught the outside corner. And he was out in front of that one as Saberhagen took something off. 1-2. The hook goes outside.
Well, regardless of the outcome of this series here with the Mets, at least for the very first inaugural wives and family trip for the Marlins, it's been a success, winning 3 of 4 in Chicago.
Fly ball into right. Burnett's out near the warning track is there. Marlins get one after 5 1/2, 7-1. Now this from American Airlines. Mets 7, Marlins 1. Richie Lewis in his 2nd inning of work. Jose Vizcaino has flied to left, reached on an error, singled and scored. This is back behind the screen. Vizcaino, the switch hitter, former Dodger and Cub. Leading it off here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And down the line, just over the glove of Colburn. And it's going to be at least 2 and maybe 3. Yes, the problem. Sheffield had trouble digging it out down in the corner. And Vizcaino, the Viz as they call him here, is all the way to third.
Vizcaino doesn't generally pull the ball very often, but he does this one over the head of Greg Colburn and down the line. all the way down in the corner where we can't see from our viewpoint. Sheffield scrambled around, and Vizcaíno with the stand-up triple.
That is his third triple of the season. Todd Hundley. Ball one to Hundley, who singled and scored, lined to short and struck out. Infield drawn in. Pitch low, 2-0. Good pitch, a strike at the knees. 2-1. A little high. 3-1.
Infield playing in. They can't afford to allow any more runs at this point of the game.
And a walk to Todd Hundley. The first given up by Lewis. Runners at the corners. Mike Maddox, the right-hander, coming up for the Mets. Jeremy Burnett has singled and scored, walked, and walked again in the fourth and scored. So he has played at 2 tonight and is 1 for 1. Gets by, and coming home will be Vizcaíno, and going on to third, Todd Hundley. Burnett gets his 12th RBI of the season.
And Burnett has been perfect here tonight. 2 singles and 2 base on balls, and the bounding ball to the right side gets just out of the reach of Brett Barbary. And that allows Hundley to go all the way to third. Now runners at the corner for Bobby Bowe, who already has 2 hits on the night and 3 RBI.
And still nobody out, and nobody warming up in the Marlins pen.
I was a little bit surprised to see Mike Maddox down there loosening up. Maybe because of the score of the game, Bret Saberhagen might be out of there. Wonder what's going to occur.
Well, we'll see. He continues to warm up. 1 ball and no strikes to Bonilla. Bobby Bowe is 2 for 3. Pops this one in the air, and it's going to be backing out of play. Bonilla tonight singled and picked up an RBI and scored in the first. He flied deep to Carr in center field in the second. He doubled, picked up 2 more RBIs, and scored in the fourth. There's Saberhagen. It looks like he's working on his cleats a little bit there. Very muddy out on that mound. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bonilla. A run home, 8-1 Mets. High chopper, Barbary. Over for 1, and back to first in time. And the run scores. Hundley comes home to make it 9-1. No RBI on the double play. Well, remember bench warmers for the official merchandise catalog. You want to get those limited edition collectibles at bench warmers. So call and get the catalog at 1-800-526-FANS.
The curveball from Lewis, and Bonilla hits it into the ground, and it hits the grass right in front of home plate to Barbary, who flips on to Abbott, but Abbott's the one that made that play a very strong throw from second base, because Barbary was a little slow getting it to Abbott, but there, the strong throw right on target.
Jeff Kent tonight has doubled and scored and picked up 2 RBIs in the first. He struck out in the third, singled and picked up another RBI off Matthews in the fourth. 9 runs on 11 hits and no errors for the Mets. They've played at 2 here in the 6th. The 1-1 pitch. Low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's one into center field. Chuck Carr. 2 more runs for New York, and after 6 they're up 9-1. We'll return after this from your local station. We're going to the top of the 7th, and earlier tonight, of course, we asked our trivia question brought to you by Publix. Can you name the last pitcher who won both games of a doubleheader? And it was Jesse Orosco against the Pirates, July 31st of 1993. Huh?
I don't think 93, Jay.
No, I don't think so either. We got to look that up.
Unless Mets pitcher, he was an ex-Mets pitcher because he's with Milwaukee now.
89.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
That's correct. All right.
See, because I thought I had the name. I thought I had the name right.
Yeah.
You know, but the date when I saw that, I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! Did Jesse all of a sudden come back?"
Down at third, Tim Bogart taking over for Bonilla. Santiago a strike. 0-2 to Benny, who leads it off here in the 7th. Benny is struck out and single. In the dirt.
When the camera showed Saberhagen in the dugout, well, that led you to believe that he was going to come out and throw again in the 7th inning. Mike Maddox continues to throw down in the bullpen, but I'm wondering, oh, now we got somebody else. All right, maybe they are just getting their work in, Jay.
Probably that's the key, and Santiago strikes out, and that is strikeout number 5 for Saberhagen.
I believe the guy throwing down there was Doug Litton, but going to take back another look at this breaking ball from Saberhagen. Drops down a little bit, took something off of it, a great pitch, and Santiago goes down swinging.
Abbott tonight has flied to center and struck out. Mauro Gozo.
Boy, I'd hate to have to try and say that name a bunch of times.
Fair ball. Abbott on his way to second. Fan falls onto the field. It's a ground rule double.
Yeah, and he might be kicked out of this stadium too.
A policeman down there.
I know he leaned over to try and get the ball, but fell right onto the field.
We've seen some nasty falls recently by fans out of the stands.
There was one at Comiskey Park that happened.
Right.
Inside fastball, and Abbott right on it, and right by the dancing bear down the line, and Abbott picks up the double, and that's where the fan fell out of the seats. And I don't know, maybe they are saying that's okay. If you make a fall like that, you get to keep the ball.
I think they let him keep it.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's a police officer.
Well, I know
down
he's there, but he hasn't asked him to leave yet. In fact, the policeman's sitting down with him.
Okay.
Brett Barbary is lined to first and flied out to center. Yeah.
All right, who did it? Come on. Admit it.
Foul back. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I believe Mauro Gazzo was with Toronto at one time, but again, I mentioned about Bret Saberhagen. He has 4 complete games this year, so maybe those guys felt, hey, they needed some time to work out in the bullpen.
This is out into left, and coming home with another run for the Marlins is Kurt Abbott. It is 9-2, and Barbary has an RBI, his 30th of the season.
Good job of hitting by Barbs, going inside out. That ball was in on him big time, and he goes just over the head of Vizcaíno, out of his reach, and falls in front of Segui. Abbott recognized where the ball was going to fall in, and he was busting it right from the get-go and scored easily.
And the pinch hitter is going to be Rick Renteria, activated today after suffering that terrible torn hamstring back on May the 22nd. Made a total of 10 rehab starts before his recall. The secret weapon, check swing, and taken out of the air in foul ground by Bronya.
Well, and Richie Lewis, he went 2 innings, allowed 2 runs on 2 hits, didn't walk anybody or strike out anybody, and that was one of those cases that, I didn't mean to swing, and it just so happened that ball hit the bat and popped up in foul territory to Bronya.
Jerry Brown will come to the plate. Brown tonight has flied to right, grounded out, doubled and scored. And he hits it into left center, and Thompson comes over. Ball hung up just long enough for Thompson to get to it out there in center field. 9-2 the Mets. Now this from Builders Square.
There's a high Melbourne.
And as we come back to play, Rico Bronya pops it back. Strike 1 to Bronya. He has singled, grounded out, and lined to short. 9-2 the Mets. Rich Scheid is the new pitcher for the Marlins. Richie Lewis going 2 innings, giving up 2 runs on 2 hits, struck out none and walked 1. Scheid facing the New York Mets for the first time in his career. Strikeout. Scheid gets Bronya here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Next, the rest of the numbers there for Rich Scheid. 14 strikeouts, 6 walks, and 26 in the 3rd. Next batter, well, here again we'll look at this strikeout.
Oh, it's a good breaking ball, and maybe one of the reasons why Rick Scheid was kept instead of Jeff Mutis is because of that good breaking ball, and he has been very effective in his outings.
And the next batter for the Mets is David Segui. Segui has singled, reached on an error, and popped out tonight. Two balls and no strikes. Scheid moving to the bullpen after making a total of 4 starts. He pitched pretty well in those starting assignments, but didn't get a lot of run support over that period of time.
Yeah, but coming out of the bullpen, he did get his first major league win.
Yes, he did. Sheffield hauls this one down in right. A reminder, the home run payoff is back. You can get your entry forms at Builders Square, the Nissan dealers, Nations Bank. We pick a winner every home run the Marlins hit. You can win the Marlins fan packs from Nations Bank, Builders Square gift certificates, 2 tickets to London from American Airlines, or a Nissan Maxima. Here's Ryan Thompson, heading to a double play in the 1st, grounded out in the 3rd, and fouled out in the 5th. Scheid is the 4th pitcher of the evening for the Marlins. David Weathers went 3 2/3, gave up 7 runs. And Matthews, Lewis, and Scheid. Doug Linton for the Mets in the pen now. Ripped into left. Thompson has a 2-out single.
Well, there was nobody on the on-deck circle, and it'll be interesting to see if indeed Bret Saberhagen does come up to bat. In the meantime, Ryan Thompson gets a fastball out over the plate, and I mean drills it to left field. Conine over to it quickly and holds Thompson to a single.
Well, still nobody out of the dugout.
No. It looks like Charlie Williams is writing down something, so maybe, well, there's somebody at the bat rack. Rivera. Yep, that's who it looks like it's going to be. So Bret Saberhagen is through for the evening.
He goes 7 innings. Saberhagen gives up 2 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 5 and he walked none. Outstanding performance. Luis Rivera batting .262, 4 RBIs and 3 home runs. Rivera is from Puerto Rico. He was on the DL a couple of times last season. Rivera used to be the property of the Boston Red Sox. He also played at Montreal. He was signed by the Mets as a free agent on January the 19th of this year. And this is a fair ball into the corner in left. Thompson being waved home, and it is a 10-2 score favoring the Mets. The double by Luis Rivera.
Pitch it shied left out over the plate. The breaking ball tried to backdoor it. Rivera hammers it right down the line, and right there around the 338 sign. By the time Conine got to it, Ryan Thompson with good speed scores easily, and Rivera the RBI and the double.
And that's his 2nd double of the year, and he's now 6 for 17 as a pinch hitter with 2 RBIs.
Well, it took him long enough to get to the plate.
It sure did. Jose Vizcaino is there now. One ball and 1 strike to Vizcaino, who has turned around. He's a switch hitter. He's flied to left, reached on an error, singled and scored in the 4th, and tripled and scored in the 6th. 10-2, the Mets. Two balls and 2 strikes. On the ground to Barber. He throws on. And after 7 innings here at Big Shea, a big lead for the Mets. 10-2. We'll be back. The Mets are up by 8 here as we go to the 8th inning, and the new hurler coming in, Gazzo. The South Florida Ford dealers present our game summary. The Mets got 4 in the first. Burnitz, Bonilla, and Kent for New York are 6 for 10 with 7 RBIs and 5 runs scored. And here is the new pitcher, Mauro Gazzo. As you look at his numbers, we can tell you that he picked up his 3rd win of the year with a scoreless inning in relief on July 31st. Gazzo, spells his name G-O-Z-Z-O, is from New Britain, Connecticut, but lives now in Rossville, Tennessee. And he used to be in the Toronto and Cleveland organizations, and he also spent some time with Minnesota. He was 0-1 with the Mets last year, appeared in 10 games. Chuck Carr will lead it off as we go to the 8th inning. Chuck tonight is 1 for 3. Carr strokes it into right. Leadoff single. Carr stole a base in the 4th inning after he singled, and that was number 32 on the year for Chucky. Sheffield tonight has struck out. Flied to left. Flied to left in the 6th. The sacrifice fly that picked up his 71st RBI of the year. Low for a ball. Well, the Yankees had themselves a big time. They are batting in the 5th now at Minnesota, leading 11-3. Kansas City's leading Seattle in the 7th inning at Royal Stadium 4-0. Toronto 3-2 over Detroit 7th inning at Toronto. In the dirt. Baltimore has a 4-0 lead over Milwaukee. They're in the 6th inning. That game at Milwaukee. Later Texas at Oakland and Chicago at California. Atlanta 13, Cincinnati 5, 7th inning. Cincinnati batting in Cincinnati. Into left field and way back, and it is gone. Sheffield with another home run. And this one was hit hard. Pretty much against the wind. The 2-run homer. 3 RBIs now for Sheffield on the night. 73 on the year. Home run number 25.
I think David Segui looked at it and knew it was gone. And again, like I say, the flags are deceptive sometimes because that ball just kept carrying and ended up there in the bleachers. A blast by Sheffield. That's 3 home runs in 3 days.
Here is Jeff Conine, who has grounded out. Had an infield single in the 4th. Singled up the middle in the 6th. 10-4. The Mets up by 6. Oh, look out.
Well, I don't think he was intentionally trying to throw at Conine. That ball got way away from him, though. That was a little bit of chin music. But with a lead of 10-4 now, I don't know if Gaza was just upset that Sheffield took advantage of it.
William Balinese from Lake Worth is our home run payoff winner. He wins a Nations Bank fan pack and a Builder Square gift certificate. Congratulations. It's a fair ball by Conine into the corner in left, and Conine with a stand-up double. Gazzo hasn't been able to get anybody out.
And here come the boos from the Mets fans, and Greg Pavlik gets on the phone immediately to get somebody up down there in the Mets pen. And Greg Pavlik is on his way out to the mound. But Conine gets jammed a little bit, but kept the bat inside of his swing, and therefore the ball landed fair. I think that the wind might have helped it a little bit, but Conine, he was trotting toward first base, but the thing is that the ball did stay fair.
10 runs on 13 hits and no errors for the Mets. 4 runs, 10 hits and 3 errors for the Marlins. And the conference on the mound concluded, and Mauro Gazzo will stay in this game. This fella made 8 consecutive starts earlier this year and then was relegated to bullpen duty. And here is Colbran, who has grounded out twice and flied to right. Conine out there. Still nobody out. Marlins have played at 2 here in the 8th. That's low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, the call down to the bullpen was to have Eric Gunderson, the left-hander, sit down, and now it's Roger Mason who is down there. There he is.
Colbran out in front of that one. Marlins have battled back here. 2 runs in the 8th, 1 in the 7th. Still a 6-run lead. It's out to the shortstop and right by him. Conine coming home. It's 10-5. Still nobody out.
Well, I don't know what they're going to rule that, Jay, but I got to believe it's got to be an error. Vizcaíno went to his right and tried to backhand it, but I think he looked up briefly to think that he was going to get Conine at third base, and when he did that, the ball went right by him, and then Conine just kept scooting along and scored easily. So it is the error on Vizcaíno, but no RBI for Colbran.
Here's Santiago. Fouls it away. Benny tonight has struck out, singled, and struck out again. Oh, he is 1 for 3. Oh, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, and one of the reasons why Jeff Conine has been so consistent, he was 0 for 5 in yesterday's ball game and comes back in this game and 3 hits with a double.
Another one in the dirt. And the faithful here are not pleased with the performance of Mauro Gazzo to this point.
Well, there's the call from Greg Pavlik, and manager Dallas Green very concerned.
Santiago fouls it back.
I'm sure what the call was is that Dallas Green has just about seen enough, and the call was to find out if he was ready.
He doesn't get Santiago out of here. He better be ready out there because Gazzo's coming out.
Yeah.
Santiago hits it out to shortstop. Little bloop that is handled out there by Vizcaíno. Kurt Abbott is 1 for 3.
Sometimes in a blowout game, when a new pitcher comes in, he just figures, well, he's just got to throw strikes, and then he's going to be able to get away with that. Well, the Marlins, they capitalized on it when Chuck Carr hit the first pitch in Sheffield's 2-run blast, and all of a sudden they were back in it again.
Abbott swings and misses. We'll pause for station identification on the Marlins Television Network.
You're watching WIRB TV 56 Melbourne, serving Indian River and Brevard counties.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike to Abbott.
Todd Hundley, to me, is one of the best at blocking pitches in the dirt. He is very good and sound fundamentally, and that was evident right there on that ball in the dirt.
In for a strike, 1 and 2. into the bat. One ball and 2 strikes, 3 runs home, 1 out, 8th inning. Lights this one off. Well, it's been a rainy afternoon and evening. Now clearing up. Cold wind blowing. One thing, though, we haven't had the airplanes from LaGuardia tonight.
No, just the landing.
Yeah, they're going way over, though. They're not taking off like they used to on many occasions right over the stadium. Coming in from center field, Thompson makes the play on the ball off the bat of Abbott. So 2 out, and it'll be up to Bret Barbary. Bret is 1 for 3. Bret's got a birthday coming up on August 16th.
'27, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's getting old.
1 strike to Barbary. Fouled out of play, and it's 0-2. Safe. I was about to say in time, but the pitcher Gonzo couldn't get his foot on the bag.
That's exactly what happened, because Rico Brogna made a great diving stab of the bounding ball. Take a look right here, and when he comes off from the position he was at, he goes to his knee and then fires to Gonzo. Gonzo just couldn't find the base.
It's a hit. Barbary is 2 for 4.
That was awfully close, though. It looked like Gonzo might have got it with his left foot, but Barbary did get there just about that same time, but first base umpire Gary Darling thought otherwise. So
Matias Carrillo will be the pinch hitter. Low to Carrillo. Batting .252. Carrillo is 5 for 26 as a pinch hitter. Fouled out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marlins now with 11 hits.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd love to see Carrillo blast one here. That would make it very interesting. Huh? With that wind blowing out. He does not have a major league home run.
Matias hits it to right, and it is working its way into center field and falls in there, and 2 runs are going to score, and Carrillo has a double. Well, the Marlins back in this game, and the fans here are really restless, and here comes Dallas Green.
All right, we'll settle for the 2-run double. He hit it a long way, Matias Carrillo did, all the way to the 396 sign in right center field.
And Gary, that was the case where that ball just carried and carried, didn't it?
Oh, it did, a long way. Pitch was down, little off-speed pitch, and Carrillo hit it a long way. Burnitz was chugging after it, but it hit right off the wall, right near that 396. It was only a couple of feet from being out of here.
Mauro Gonzo goes 2/3 of an inning, and it was a disaster for him. And he has left the game, and Mason coming on now. This AT&T call to the bullpen. Back here at Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, the Marlins have come back into this game. It's 10-7, and there is Roger Mason. He earned his third win of the year and second with the Mets on Wednesday against the Braves. He has allowed just 4 earned runs in his last 13 appearances over 14 innings. Roger Mason now out there for the Mets.
Well, we've talked about the power numbers for the Marlins. The last 4 games, 7 home runs, 9 doubles and a triple. Home runs 94, they have 88, and 93 the whole season was 94. So definitely the power numbers up.
Jerry Brown stands in against Roger Mason. A strike on the inside corner. Mason's contract was purchased by the Mets from the Phillies AAA affiliate in Scranton last April. High. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brown has flied to right, grounded out, doubled and scored, and flied to center. Carrillo out at second. And a high fly ball to right. This will play for Burnitz. 9 men went to bat. The Marlins scored 5. Mets 10, Marlins 7. Now this from your local station. Well, we head to the bottom of the 8th inning at Shea Stadium in New York. And a reminder, we'll be back with you on Sunday here on the Marlins TV Network. Be on the air at 1:30. The Marlins and the Mets. 3rd and final game of this series. Out on the mound, Johnny Johnstone. 1-2 the record. 6.50 the ERA. Johnstone, who looked very sharp in Chicago till he gave up a couple of big blasts. But Gary, you've talked about the fact that he has a better outlook, a more professional outlook as a pitcher these days, and he certainly has good stuff. He'll face Hundley, Burnitz, and Bogart. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 10-7 Mets. Hundley swinging at the first pitch. Fouls it back. The attendance tonight, 18,625. One ball and 1 strike. Foul at the plate. Mets got 4 in the first, 3 in the 4th, and led 7-0. Marlins played at 1 in the 6th. Mets came back with 2 in the 6th. Both clubs got a single run in the 7th, and the Marlins struck for 5 in the 8th. This is line foul into the seats. Dallas Green, longtime veteran baseball manager. Took over here in New York. Green, of course, used to be with the Phillies. Swing and a miss by Hundley. Strikeout.
Good pitch from Johnstone, moving away from Hundley, and you saw where he was underneath the pitch and swings right through it.
That that shot at Dallas Green a moment ago. Of course, he served also as the general manager for the Cubs. He managed the Yankees. Burnitz at the plate. Burnitz tonight has been on base every time. Singled and scored in the first, walked in the second. There's Dallas. He walked in the fourth and scored, and singled and picked up an RBI in the sixth. Bogar's out on deck. 1 ball and 1 strike. to 7, the Mets. It swings and misses. Philadelphia batting in the bottom of the 9th inning at Veterans Stadium. Montreal leading 5-0. It swings and misses, and that is another strikeout for Johnstone.
Well, it's good to see Johnny Johnstone again pick his confidence up. The other day in Chicago, he really had retired the 6 guys he had faced. The pop-up that was foul that Jerry Brown didn't come up with by Derek May, and then he hit a home run, and so did Buechele.
Here is Bogar, his first time at bat, and look out, Sheffield has it bound off of him down there. Into third goes Bogar. Well, that's the ball Sheff should have caught, although it's very windy here.
Yeah, but they've got to give that an error. He should have caught that ball. And once again, something has happened to Johnny Johnstone. Right there, the ball came back a little bit on him and almost hit him in the chest. And hit off the heel of his glove and then just wasn't able to come up with it.
That's the 4th error of the night for the Marlins. 3-base error on Sheffield down in the windswept corner of right field. And here is Kent. He doubled, picked up 2 RBIs and scored in the first, struck out in the third, singled and picked up an RBI in the fourth, and flied to center in the sixth. Johnstone should have been out of the inning, just as he should have been in Chicago, Gary, as you mentioned.
Exactly. And he was popping the fastball that day. I was looking over to the broadcast booth of the Cubs, and Steve Stone was very impressed with his velocity.
Right.
And we've said all along, he does have a good fastball, good breaking stuff. It's just a matter of sometimes his location.
Time called. A final now at Philadelphia. Montreal wins it 5-0. Strike on the outside corner. Good pitch from John Johnstone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Montreal now 69 and 39. Atlanta is winning 15-6, so they'll keep their 5-game lead. Atlanta destroying Cincinnati tonight in the 8th inning. Houston is winning 12-1 over the Giants. So Houston figures to creep within 2 of Cincinnati.
Well, I tell you what, Cincinnati went in and crushed the Giants in San Francisco, and all of a sudden, you know, the other way around here now for Houston, and boy, they could get right back in it again.
1 ball and 2 strikes. This ball gets away from Santiago, but no advance.
This is just a matter of just taking your eye off of it a little bit. Santiago tried to backhand it. Fortunately, it didn't get by him too far, and the runner at third held.
There's those Central Division standings, and Cincinnati losing and Houston winning tonight. Two and 2 the count. this should play for Colbert. Yes, it does. Good job by Johnny Johnstone. Well, we're headed to the ninth. Mets lead 10-7. Now about joining us for karaoke night at the ballpark Wednesday the 10th. You can give your karaoke audition by reporting to the Waxy 106 remote at Gate H between 5 and 6:30. It's this Wednesday. And 2 finalists will be chosen to sing during the pregame show. Get to the ballpark early and enjoy Marlins karaoke night. Chuck Carr to lead it off. Strike 1 to Carr. And strike 2 as he couldn't get up with the off-speed pitch from Roger Mason. Carr tonight has grounded out, singled and stolen a base. He grounded out in the 6th, singled and scored in the 8th. Chuck's batting average at .268. Fouls this back. Hit on the ground, and the toss in time. Bronya tossing it on to Roger Mason. Carr is out of there.
And a good play by Bronya. That's the way you field it, and you also lead your pitcher going toward the bag, and Bronya does it perfectly.
Gary Sheffield is struck out, fly to right, had a sacrifice fly and an RBI to left, and 2-run homer in the 8th. The fly ball in the 4th, incidentally, was to left. I think it said right. So he is 1 for 3 this evening. Batting average at .277. One strike to Sheffield. In for a strike. 0-2. And he gets it up the middle. Sheffield at first. 1 out. Marlins need some base runners. Down 3 runs. 10-7. 9th inning. Jeff Conine tonight is 3 for 4.
And John Franco also has begun to throw down in the bullpen for the Mets. Roger Mason in a save situation right here, though.
And a double play ball. They turn it and win it. The Mets take the first game. 10 runs, 13 hits, and 1 error for the Mets. 7 runs, 13 hits, and 4 errors for the Marlins. 18,000 plus were here. The winner is Saberhagen. He goes to 13-4. David Weathers is the loser. A save for Mason in this game. The Marlins now 48-61. The Mets at 53-54. Bonilla with 3 RBIs. Kent with 3 RBIs. Gary Sheffield, his 25th home run. And 3 big hits for Conine in this game. Mets 10, Marlins 3. We'll be back right after this.